Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at the Torchlight Brigade Action Pack and Reinforcement Pack from Corvus Belli. These were kindly sent as complimentary review copies and are a brand new faction for Infinity's 012. So if you don't play Infinity, basically the primary faction and sub-faction rules for this game allow you to basically collect any of almost like the color wheel of factions. Nomads are kind of the red faction, the yellow faction's Yuching, the green faction's Ariadna. On and on and on. These are the blue faction, sort of the second blue faction actually, the blue and gold faction, which is the 012. They're sort of the space police. They're the militant cop arm of the governing body of the human sphere, which is where all of humanity lives. And these are the boarding folks. So you can see they have a really heavy armor kind of assault vibe to them. Fantastic models. And this is a playable army in a box right here, the action pack. And then this reinforcement pack gives you some options to go with it. So these two boxes together would basically get you started into that faction completely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Army Builder because this wonderful free app allows you to see all of this stuff in real time. So in this box, this is one of my only bugbears with the new packaging from Corvus Belli because obviously it's beautiful. They do a great job of putting art on one side and then the miniatures available in here on the other side. They used to have on the sides of it a thing that told you what everything was, like just all of the models labeled sort of. Now there's a QR code. There it is. It's on top of this one. So I knew it was around here somewhere. And that QR code can be scanned, which will take you to a description of the miniatures themselves. If you just use your camera on your phone. So you just go like that and go boom, goes to Infinity of the Universe and shows me a full action pack. So over here we have a Strider. They call that one Strider right here. We have a Nimrod with a sniper rifle, which is this guy, I believe. Then we have a Yellow Jacket, not to be confused with cannibalistic, I think volleyball players or soccer players, which is the Jump Troop who's right there. We've got Silver Star Rovers. There's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3 with the cool kind of helmets. And then we have 2 Hellblazers, the dudes with swords and shields. And then finally the Silver Star Prime, which is the Ginormo Man back here. He's your big gunfighter. And then vice versa, or sorry, likewise, we have the same thing on the reinforcement pack. We have a Jackboot with his gun. We have a Jackboot Engineer with his gun and Mr. Fix-It stick. We have a Jackboot Forward Observer. These are all Jackboots for the most part. That is that guy. He's spun around in this picture. We got a Vidok Doctor, a Vidok Marksman, Shock Marksman Rifle, or Multi-Marksman Rifle, and a Ment with light shotgun. So this is kind of like the lighty recon stuff. This is all the heavy assault stuff. And between these two boxes, you get a significant amount of points. So just adding up the overall points in this. So you're gonna get a Ment agent. We'll just take the hacker version maybe. No, it's chain of command. We don't want no hacker on chain of command. This is cheapo 15.1. We got a couple of Vidocs. In here we have and I mean, remember you can use any of these as anything. It says multi-marksman on this picture. It says marksman rifle, but there's only stat lines for multi-spectral visor and multi-sniper rifles, so it must be a multi-sniper rifle. So we'll do the surprise attack one, the Vidok boarding shotgun doctor, and then 3 Jackboots, an FO, an engineer, and a Spitfire. So just going off like the weapon profiles, because obviously there's a very sort of like, permissive proxy culture in this game, because they don't make models for everything. There's tons of different profiles, and it doesn't hurt anything to have your models be slightly gun different. But there's only these 3 Jackboot profiles anywhere, so it's kind of all of them. Spitfire, Forward Observer, and Paramedic. Hang on. Now I'm confused. Engineer. Jackboot Engineer with a submachine gun? There is no Jackboot Engineer in here. I'm so freaking confused. Okay, well, maybe this is a new profile then for this model. Jackboot Engineer, Jackboot Spitfire, Jackboot Forward Observer. But there's a Paramedic, an FO, and a NCO Spitfire in here. So that Paramedic, I think that's not actually an engineer then. That's supposed to be a Paramedic, because that profile doesn't exist. Already I'm confused. Come on, Infinity, just put the things on the boxes. And then my last 2 that were on here are the, oh no, that was it. That was everybody. And so for the actual like big boy stuff, we have, what's easy is I can just go to that other picture now. There it is. We have Striders, Nimrod. Oh, we have another Nimrod, and this is the AP Marksman Rifle. So Nimrod, the Wet Works Department. That has an AP Marksman Rifle right there. We have the Strider SMG. We call that one Strider. I still don't have a lieutenant, but we're going to figure that out in a second, I promise. Start at SMG. You could be a specialist op. You could be a mine layer. We'll make him a mine layer. We have the Yellow Jacket drop troop. Yellow Jacket's transorbital team. And that guy's armed with a submachine gun, so he could be, just to have him be WYSIWYG, he could be the hacker. I like that. Then we got our 3 silver stars, our rovers. They are armed with a variety of guns. It looks like we have a combi rifle, a multi-rifle, and an HMG. So that's easy. So the combi rifle will make an FO. The multi-rifle will make a lieutenant. That's cool. And then the HMG will make an HMG. And then last but not least, we have our 2 Hellblazers and a Prime. So we're at 333 points so far. And Hellblazers and Primes are not cheap. Actually, the Hellblazers are relatively cheap. The Prime is a big boy and is therefore not super cheap. We'll make him not the lieutenant, and he is 53 points by himself. So we're almost 400 points so far. And then 2 Hellblazers. I believe they're warbands. No, Hippolyte is a warband. Hellblazers are probably heavy infantry. Yeah, there they are. They're not that expensive, but we have 2 of them. They're another 423 points. So if 300 points is a game, you get 123 points to play with out of these 2 boxes. And so let's crack them open and actually look at the models themselves. One of the things I really like about Infinity is that a lot of, these are still, for the most part, metal models, but a lot of work has been done to make these very easy to assemble. And in this newer stuff, that's never been more the case. So the biggest guy, he is in, if you look at this, Cyocast. And some of the pieces here are in Cyocast. Well, it looks like the backpacks for some of these are in Cyocast. But for the most part, this is going to be all metal. And we'll take an example piece here. We'll pull down. This looks like one of the rovers. This is the Rover HMG. Yeah, so this is my favorite part about these guys. They're all basically like, in the old days, what you'd have is you'd have like a posability option with like a round attachment point. These new models all have sort of lozenge-shaped or hexagonal attachment points, which means that they kind of pin themselves and they fit together perfectly. There's not a lot of mold shrinkage. That HMG lines up perfectly, and you don't have to try and wiggle it to figure out where the other arm's going to go. It's just going to sit exactly where it needs to sit because it's also on a lozenge. So those 2 pieces line up and he can hold the gun. I don't really want to do this. I hate breaking metal flashpoints up, but I'm just going to do it to show you guys. You can see here, so there, it's perfectly lined up. And the hand, there's a piece of flash in the way, but that's okay. I'll clean that off later. The hand is perfectly lined up with the wrist because it's already pre-measured, right? It's already fit together properly. And what means that because you're usually using super glue on these, you don't need to pin them. You can just throw glue inside and quickly, like if you use an accelerant too, if you want to, I sometimes do, but not often. I often don't need to and just let them sit and dry. The other thing I really like about Infinity miniatures, they come pre-sunk for magnets. There's actually a, neodymium magnet like size. I think Warsenal sells them in bags of like 100 for like 10 bucks. I usually get them at conventions whenever I have them there because they just sell stacks of magnets that are designed to fit these. So because these are metal, I like storing these just on baking sheets inside of like Rubbermaid kind of organizers. It means that my miniatures are way less likely to chip and get damaged and way easier to transport. So yeah, casts look great. The sword on this Prime is super straight, which is really nice. And it's the usual quality that I expect from CB. So I think it's a really good value if you're going to grab just the core box. Actually, I didn't look at what it's 128 points. You have less. So if I was to take out the first 6 unit entries here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The jackboots, if I take out the jackboots, the Vidocs, and the Ment, we're at 277. And that's with me not taking the most expensive options for some of these things. I'm sure you could fill in the extra 23 points to go to 300. And there's 9 miniatures, so it's a single combat group. So more than enough to have and like, if you already play O12, you've got all of the support pieces here already, or maybe some of the like character models like Hippolyta, or War Drivers and Warhorse and stuff like that too. If you're already playing Infinity, it's all good. If you don't already play Infinity and you're looking to get in with these 2 box sets, I'd just recommend picking up the reinforcements box at the same time. So this is kind of the new format. I like these smaller boxes, honestly. These Army action packs used to come in like a slightly larger box. I like this for 2 reasons. One, it has good book like shelf packaging for putting it sideways on a shelf, which means it's nice and visible for when we're actually like putting things together. And yeah, and overall, I think that the value for the 2 boxes, you could play Infinity for a long time with just these and then start moving into things like remotes. But especially I think as a starter army, this is going to be a really good like value, a really good place to jump off, and it's just well designed as far as getting you what you need to play, and also if you've already got this faction, getting you the greatest hits of the stuff that's new inside a new faction, or a sub-faction for 012. So there it is, Torchlight Brigade from Corvus Belli. I hope you enjoyed this little look at the 2 new box sets and this GMG review of the sort of like ways to get into Infinity. Infinity is still one of, I think, the easiest. It's funny because people talk about the rule system for Infinity being complicated. I think Infinity is actually one of the least complicated during gameplay mental load things that I currently play, because it doesn't change all that often. It changes yearly sometimes, but just for the scenario pack, not for like the whole core gameplay experience. And you get kind of a little dribble of something new every month, but not stuff that's overwhelming. So it's on a pretty low shelf comparatively. It's on a definite medium shelf as far as complexity to get into. And I think they're doing a great job of curating their product offer for both it to be easy to understand to retailers and for it to be easy for the consumer to like pick up and go like, oh, this is just the this is the faction if I want to try it out. Oh, this is the additional stuff I would want to play the faction. Like that's good packaging, and that's a good sort of like way of taking what used to be like a million blisters on your wall and saying like, nope, this is it right here. This is what you want for this faction. Hey, look, it's all like, you know, coded and stuff like that. And I just wish that those pictures were this side. Like it's beautiful, these photographs. I would much rather these were the description sides, because you have the beautiful art on one side if you want to have like front-facing packaging, and then you could just flip it over and have this be the like description of what everything is, or just stick some labels on this piece. That's fine too. I don't know. It's a super minor quibble for something that I like a lot. So there it is, once again, another GMG review of some Corvus Belli's latest offerings for a new faction getting in. Thanks for sending along these as a complimentary review copy, and thanks you guys for watching. Next time, Ash. Have a great